Practices Act. Meta owns Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp. Travelers' frustration is high as the number of TSA workers calling out sick grows due to the partial government shutdown ongoing since February 14th. At Houston Airport, where the line stretches 3 floors,
I wished every senator, every congressman could stand in this line.
On Capitol Hill, there's cautious optimism that a deal could be in the works. President Trump says he's probably not going to like whatever they come up with in the Senate. The NTSB gives a timeline on the deadly collision between a jet and a fire truck at LaGuardia Airport. The NTSB's Doug Brazy says of the first warning given to the fire truck,
at 9 seconds, the tower instructed Truck 1 to stop. At 8 seconds, there was a sound consistent with the airplane's landing gear touching down on the runway.
Investigators plan to speak with the 2 controllers who were in the control box on Sunday night. The Minnesota Attorney General is suing the Trump administration for allegedly blocking evidence related to the shootings by federal officers of Renee Good, Alex Preddy, and Julio Cesar Sosa Solis. CBS's Sarah Lynch.
What has happened here is that in all 3 of these very high-profile shootings, the Department of Justice has essentially blocked the state officials from being able to access evidence, from being able to sit in on interviews with witnesses.
This is CBS News.
The stars shine brighter on CBS Mornings.
This is a slam dunk.
So cute.
Y'all came in singing for me today.
On CBS Mornings.
Jen, I didn't know you shopped here.
Hey, I'm hunting for something fresh for spring.
Oh, girl, skip them all. Jewelry Television has the best spring looks right now.
JTV, way ahead of you. Just hit up JTV.com yesterday. Scored the cutest clover earrings, 2 tennis bracelets, and this gorgeous pearl ring.
Right now, new customers get $20 off any purchase of $99 or more at JTV.com.
Oh, and gold hoops and this turquoise bracelet.
Just a couple things, huh?
Maybe more than a couple.
You've got a big day, so you use Unstoppable Scent Boosters to give your laundry non-stop freshness. So no matter how long the day goes, you
can't stop this power, this walk, this pose, this strut, this look, this talk.
Your clothes will be so fresh you can confidently strut into that end of the day meeting like a
boss, 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 bosses. Let's talk business in my office.
Add new Unstoppable Beads to your wash for 24-hour non-stop freshness, so you can smell unstoppable.
Afternoon, looking at this right out here in Antioch. It's 24 westbound at Hickory Hollow Parkway. It's got traffic pretty slow now in that area. It's in the westbound lanes. Also trying to clear a wreck just north of Madison on 65 northbound before you get to Vietnam Vets. It's over to the side, but a lot of rubbernecking associated with that crash there north of Madison on 65 north, again just before Vietnam Vets. Hey, STR Towing and Recovery says call them 24/7 if you need a tow. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki from News Radio WGNS with a reminder that you can download the Weatherology app on your phone for the forecast at your fingertips. We can even send weather bulletins to your cell phone. Download the Weatherology app today. It's free in the App Store.
Rutherford weather.
Lows level off around 47 tonight under partly cloudy skies. Partly cloudy skies tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 74. I'm WGNS meteorologist Derek Height. Currently 70.
We do it your way at Sir Pizza.
Join the team at Murfreesboro's favorite pizza restaurant. Sir Pizza is now hiring at all 3 locations. Come by and be part of the team at Sir Pizza.
We're the Good Neighbor Network. FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro. FM 100.5 Smyrna. Audio and video streaming at wgnsradio.com.
From the first pitch to the final buzzer, this is where the conversation starts. All sports talk on WGNS and Big G TV, covering the Preps, MTSU, news from Tennessee and nationwide. Now, here's all sports talk on the Good Neighbor Network.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to a beautiful day in Murfreesboro. I bet you've already figured that out. Jeff Jordan's with me. Jeff, you figured that out some time ago, right?
Well, it's been a pretty day. It's been a little coolish with a little cool wind, but
that you get up in the morning and you put something on, and about noon you need to change if you're going to be out and about doing much else, I guess. But it's been a nice day, and looks like a pretty nice week coming up. A lot of news for sure taking place. Basketball for sure. We are at the Sweet 16 with the NCAA, with the women's NCAA, with the NIT. Middle Tennessee winner last night, 69-50. We'll host on Thursday night And big crowd was there Monday. I expect a bigger crowd on Thursday night. Should be a lot of fun, and there will be officially a new head coach when that happens on Thursday night.
Who are we playing on Thursday night? Do we know yet?
Cleveland State.
Cleveland State?
Cleveland State out of Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay.
We do know. 6:30 game time at Murphy Center.
And our new coach, Matt Insel, he'll be the head coach that night?
Well, I think I'm not sure he's not been the head coach in a lot of ways the last half of the season. I don't expect anything to change much. I do expect Rick to be up front and center to finish the season out. I don't know. When they make the announcement, head coach, will they say Rick Insel or will they say Matt Insel? Is Rick? I think he's officially retired.
Okay. I don't know.
I don't know either. I say it this way. I think the girls have figured out a long time ago that Rick and Matt are coaching this thing together right now. I don't expect today's practice probably was any different than it was last week.
I imagine that's right.
Whoever was blowing the whistle at the right time or doing whatever, I expect it's not going to change until this season officially is over with. And Rick heads to the. Well, heck, if he's retired, he'll be sitting in the bleachers tonight with me.
I'm going to say he's not going to be doing that.
I think he's going to be with popcorn and Coke and
no.
Sitting with Deb at the game tonight.
No, I don't think so. Well, I don't know.
All that said, Matt Insel has been an associate head coach for the last several years. That's the coach in waiting, and really, I went to the press conference today for that. And really big crowd, very supportive crowd, and very enthusiastic crowd. And Matt, like his dad, he thinks big, and there's no reason for me to doubt that he's not going to pull it off because he expects to win. He expects to carry on a great tradition at Middle Tennessee.
Well, there's a lot of keys to it, as we both know, and as I think the general public is aware of that. But one of the keys may be an area where we have not done very well here lately. I don't know if that's right or not, but that's in recruiting. The fact that we have no seniors, and I think we have one senior, right?
Yeah,
who was terrific, and other than that, most of our time was freshmen.
It is. Well, but it's a pretty good group of freshmen, wouldn't you think?
Oh, yeah, sure. I like them fine.
You're kind of hard to knock recruiting when that's the case. There were clearly some gaps. I don't think that the plan was 5 years ago, let's see if we can't find 1 year where we lose 4 out of 5 starters and the fifth one leaves in the portal. And so we have no starters back from that. Nobody wants that situation to happen. If you're going to make it happen, if we're going to start 4 freshmen, let's make 4 good ones. And Jeff, this team is so inconsistent because of being freshmen. Wouldn't you say that's fair to say?
Yes. Yeah, I think that's true. I think that's what you. When you put teams, I don't care really where you are. When you put teams on the floor, in this case, women's basketball, that are mostly freshmen, and maybe a sophomore or two thrown in there, generally you're going to take your lumps. I'm
going to think that most coaches would say this, Jeff. If I've got to have one starter that is totally inexperienced, I can probably get through that if they're a good player. If I got 2 starters that are with no experience and they're good players, I might get through that. But 3, and in this case 4,
right?
Even though they're really good players, they are inexperienced, really good players playing Division I NCAA basketball, expecting to go to postseason play, which Middleton's done now for 21 straight years. That's a lot to ask of a team with one graduate transfer student as being there, and everybody else is one sophomore plays a lot, and then 5 freshmen play an awful lot. 4 of them start.
Right, and it's possible now with when we're down to 1 portal, and we don't know necessarily how that's going to work out, but it's certainly going to work out a lot better than 2 portals, and so I think that will be a help.
Well, when you mentioned recruiting, Matt made the point today. The players were there, and I'll say this to kind of lead into this. I got to thank all those players that were there that are freshmen when they were recruited to come to Middle Tennessee 18 months ago when they made their decision. Would that be about right?
Yeah.
Number-wise. I'm going to bet they either asked the question of Coach Insel. Mama asked the question of Coach Insel, will you be there when my girl graduates in 4 years? And my guess is Rick Insel was very clear to say, I don't think I'll be. This young man beside me is going to be your head coach. So I think these kids that came in are not coming in saying, well, we expected Rick Insel to be here for 4 years, and he come to play for Matt Insel, and therefore we don't want to do this. I think they've had enough. I know they've had enough of Matt Insel's movements on the floor and off the floor and whatever to know whether this is someone they want to stay and play for or not. And I've got a great suspicion that they're going to be here next year to play for him.
Well, I'll ask the question since you brought it up there. Who names the head coach?
President of the university.
Okay.
The president of the university signs off on everything.
Okay, and that would be correct. Well, he's not in the room when that question is asked from a parent.
Oh, you're right. My guess is that
it's difficult. It is.
Nothing official. And they say, well, the parent asked the question to Rick Insel.
Okay.
How do you know that, Coach?
Okay, that's another question.
Have you cut a deal here with the president of the university that probably can't be done?
I don't know.
I don't have any
idea. And if that question we're asking, in your example there, Rick and Matt are both in the room.
Yeah.
And Rick says, "Well, your new head coach is right here. Here he is."
And it's challenging to say, well, I can't say that officially because he couldn't.
Okay. All right. Okay.
We have every reason to believe.
That's all right. Yeah.
We are expecting this to happen. And he wouldn't say it out loud, but I've been a very good coach at this school for 21 years. And if they don't think anything more of me than to say, you don't get to have a big hand or even name the next coach coming in. That doesn't happen many places. Let's go back to Auburn, where Bruce Pearl left, and Stephen Pearl took his place this year. Stephen Pearl went through a tough season, Jeff, because of the nepotism thought process. He was given the job without anybody else been interviewing and so forth. Matt's going to go through that. Don't you imagine? If he loses a game or two along the way, somewhere along the line, or things go south. So I don't know what conversation took place between the university president and Rick Insel a year ago, where the president said, "Coach, you have my word that," and you can tell the recruits this. My guess that conversation didn't take place.
Okay.
But you raised a great question. Surely one of the parents had to ask that question, didn't they?
Well, I would think so. I certainly would have. Yes. But I don't know. I don't have any idea.
Anyway, I do know this question is clearly going to be asked. Why do you not go interview somebody else? If you got such a good program, why do you hand it off to Matt Insel? Matt will have to answer that question, but we're going out and winning. The same question people had 21 years ago why are you hiring a high school coach? I don't care how successful he was in high school. You're hiring a high school coach. A few people asked that question.
Right.
And President McPhee and Chris Massaro had to go out on the limb. Chris was very clear. The first hire he made here, he hadn't been on campus 3 months. I got to hire a new head basketball coach. And I'm going to hire a high school coach. His wife, he told me this. His wife asked him that question. Are you crazy? Coming in from South Carolina, he'd been around Lou Holtz and coaches that stature over in South Carolina, Steve Spurrier. You're going to come in and hire a high school coach, your first hire at Middle Tennessee, where women's basketball is so important. That's what you're going to do?
Well, the question that you had the imaginary parent ask a minute ago.
You had it asked with. You're right. That's a great point.
Well, here's another great point, I think, and that is not theoretically, definitely, You could ask that question to every coach
that
was sitting in your living room.
Sure.
And they either, in today's world, the chances are reasonable that they probably won't be there.
Exactly right. When Kermit Davis went into Ole Miss and went out to recruit his first set of players at Ole Miss, and the mom asked you, Coach Davis, will you be there when my son graduates? Well, that's my plan.
Yes.
Will you be there?
Yes.
That's the plan. Will you be there? I can't guarantee anything. I can't guarantee I'll be alive tomorrow.
And he wasn't.
And he wasn't. And the thinking's going to be. And so you raised a really good question. I hadn't thought about when did the deal get cut, or when was it assumed that the associate head coach is doing a good job? He just happens to be the coach's son, and the coach is so highly respected. There's no way that I can not do this deal. Does Matt deserve the job, Jeff? I clearly believe he does.
Well, he's got it. And
yes, he does. That's the known for sure.
And he's got an absolute ton of work to do.
He does.
So I will support him from a distance.
I don't know the answer to this question either. How different is the coaching staff? Rick Insell, head coach, Matt Insell, associate head coach. In the last 3 years, when did that begin to turn to Matt a little bit more on the floor, a little bit more on the floor, a little bit more on the floor, a little bit more in the timeouts, a little bit more in the timeouts? It's been gradual, but if you pay attention to it enough, you can see that for the last little bit at least, 3 or 4 months, Matt Insell has been as much in charge as Rick has been.
Well, at least that long, and I think a lot longer. But it doesn't really matter. I do know this. I think I know this, and that is that during timeouts and dead ball situations, only 2 people talk. And as far as the coaching staff is concerned, now they can offer advice and stuff while the game's going on, and I'm sure insert an idea or whatever at some point or another. But you don't want much more than one voice.
So we raised 3 questions that are pretty good. A, will Rick Insell, not being head coach tomorrow night, will he be sitting in the stands with Deb watching the game, drinking Coke, eating popcorn? We've answered that. No, that's not going to be the case. 2, will anything change coaching-wise from Monday's game to Thursday's game? And I say, no, I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
The only real question is, in my mind, is this. When they announce the head coach tomorrow night, they're going to say Matt Insell, aren't they?
I don't know. I would think so.
I would think so.
Yeah,
I'll be there to find out.
Well,
and encourage other people to do that as well. Cleveland State, the opponent, coming in at 6:30. Middle Tennessee then would face likely Arkansas State, a foe from back in the Sun Belt Conference days. Don't know where that game will be if the Middle were to win, and whether they'll host again or not. Jeff, when you're drawing I say drawing. These are paid games. Let's be clear about this. You bid. Do you want to host the game or not? This is what I'll give you NIT for the right to host this game. And the other side makes their bid, and their committee makes a quick decision as to here's what we're going to do. We don't know the answer to that yet. First, they got to win Thursday night, right?
Right.
6:30 at Murphy Center.
You and I both, we were talking just a little bit about the Lady Raiders and what has now become kind of a long history, really. Not as long as the men, but a long time. And I can remember plenty of games, and I bet you can too, where, hey, there might have been 300 or 400 people paid.
Sure.
I mean, there was nobody there. They didn't care anything about women's basketball to that level, but more things have changed.
Let's take a break, and we'll come back and continue that discussion. And we've got probably some other conversations to take place. 893-1450. If you'd like to join the conversation, we'd love to have you on All Sports Talk.
Lace up your best kicks for a night of impact benefiting First Shot. Join us for the annual Sneaker Ball presented by Venture Express. Spend Sunday, April 26th with NFL Hall of Famer and Super Bowl MVP Marcus Allen. The event kicks off at 6 with a VIP meet and greet at 5. Reserve your table today. Call Coach Andy Herzer at 615-631-5312. We'll see you at the Sneaker Ball, benefiting First Shot on April 26th.
Clark's Auction Company will get you top dollar for your property.
Auctions are easy, fast, and profitable. You have a staff that comes to your home. They walk you through it. It's been my experience. What I thought I should get for my home, I got much more for it. Call Parks Auction and Realty or visit parksauction.com.
Clark's Auction Company will get you top dollar for your property.
Parks Auction Company, committed to auction excellence.
Told it to you, 27.5. In Rutherford County, you know how much it means to have neighbors you can count on. I'm State Farm Agent Andy Wommel, here to help life go right when you combine home and auto insurance. Call me today at 615-890-0850 and let me save you money and time. Your home, your auto, together they're where life happens. I'm State Farm Agent Andy Wommel. It's smart to protect them together to help life go right. Give me a call at 615-890-0850 and let me help you save by combining your home and auto.
Roscoe Brown is this area's leading provider of home indoor air quality products and services. Back in 1940, Roscoe Brown started this family business with a goal of treating customers like family. Over 80 years later, that commitment continues. If you're new to town, ask Roscoe Brown to do a checkup on your HVAC and plumbing systems. It'll make a difference. Call Roscoe Brown and schedule a checkup today.
Roscoe Brown.
RoscoeBrown.com.
WGNS.
Our family at Demas's Restaurant are proud to support local emergency responders who put their lives on the line for our community each and every day. This is Peter Demas, and here is this week's Demas's Emergency Responder of the Week.
William Steele is a man who wears many hats. He's a fire investigator for Rutherford County Fire and Rescue and an instructor for the Tennessee Fire and Codes Academy. The person who nominated William Steele said he's very deserving of many things. This is just one way that I can think of to honor him. William Steele with Rutherford County Fire Rescue and the Tennessee Fire and Codes Academy is our Demas emergency responder.
When you see a firefighter, police officer, paramedic, or telecommunicator going the extra mile, let WGNS know, and we at Demas's Restaurant will salute them as the emergency responder of the week.
Good afternoon. Still slow go, 65 northbound, trying to get up past Rivergate Parkway this afternoon. Exercise some patience up through there. TDOT's up against the wall, moving a car right now on 24 westbound. At Hickory Hollow Parkway, it's heavy eastbound in that area as well, pushing towards Murfreesboro. Don't let a slipping transmission make things worse on your car or truck. Bring it to the transmission experts at Amco Transmission, 1621 West Main Street in Lebanon. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
It's all sports talk from the Good Neighbor Network, FM 1019, 100.5, AM 1450, wgnsradio.com, and Big G TV.
If you're a small business owner, think about everything you need to help your business.
Welcome back into All Sports Talk. Tim Tackett along with Jeff Jordan. Jeff brought to you by Fans Heating and Air. Lee Collins, Financial Services with Edward Jones. We've been poring over the 8 coaches at Middle Tennessee, trying to remember the names of Pat Jones and Pat Sarver. The first 2 head coaches at Middle Tennessee. 1975, the first year that most programs went from closed sport to competitive sport. And Association of Interscholastic Women's Athletics, I think AIWA was the sanctioned body for them. At that time, Jeff, there was no NCAA women's basketball until about, I think, 83 or so. Does that sound about right?
That's close, yes. Mm-hmm.
I could look it up and find out for sure. But Pat Jones, Pat Sarver, and then Larry Joe Inman was the first coach that you and I remembered. Came from Mount Juliet High School. Followed then by Jim Davis. If I get all this right, then
I think so, yes.
Louis Bivens. And Stephanie Smith. And Rick Insel, then Matt Insel.
Right.
So Matt's number 8. Couple places in Middle Tennessee. You mentioned how historic it is. Middle Tennessee has been in those 75 to 83. Take that back. It's 17 years, 38-year history or so. Been in the NCAA tournament 13 times, or 21 times, I should say, Jeff. That's pretty good.
a number of teams college, university looked ahead and could see, I think, that this was probably going to happen, what has happened.
Sure.
Okay. And I know one of those teams, and I hate to even say it, but one of them was Tennessee Tech.
Sure.
And she did a really good job.
Mary Nell Metter.
Yeah, and she signed a
MTSU graduate, I believe.
Yeah, and she signed a girl from Riverdale. And she turned out to, of course, she was a good player, and she was a good player at Tech. And I think Coach went on to, I believe, Florida State after that.
I think that's right.
But Old Dominion was a force.
Old Dominion was a power. Immaculata was a power. Louisiana Tech was a power.
Louisiana Tech.
There was no University of Tennessee that was a power at that time, even though Pat Head was her name at the time, was the first head coach of Tennessee in 75. And UT was not a power at all until about the late 80s, I'm going to say. And then she became the winningest basketball coach of all time. First win for Pat Head, Jeff, was against who?
I have no idea. I don't know.
How about MTSU?
If you say so.
It is. It's true. For Pat Head's first win in regulatory basketball was against Middle Tennessee. Let me give you one more. 2002-2003 season. Since that time, four schools the season we're in now, going into this season, there were four teams that had won 17 or more games every year since 2002-2003. Name those four schools.
I'm sure I couldn't do that, but
you can name a couple for sure.
Well, Middle, I hope, is one of them.
Middle's one of them.
And Tennessee.
Tennessee's one of them.
UConn.
UConn would be the other one. That's three.
I don't know the fourth one.
Fourth one's Baylor.
Baylor. Okay.
So since 2002-2003 season, only four schools going into this season had won 17 or more games every year. One of those schools dropped out this year.
Baylor.
No. University of Tennessee.
They dropped out.
They did not win their 17 games. So right now,
all right,
through this season, there are only three schools that have won 17 or more games in every year since 2002-2003 season: UConn, Baylor, and Middle Tennessee.
Well,
pretty strong.
Oh yeah, and there were a lot of good college players or high school players that became college players, and then the big issue was for a long time they don't have any history of shooting the basketball. They were playing guard. And we had some good players at Riverdale that was true of. They were fine athletes, good players, could do a lot of things, but they have never, and at least in competition, shot the ball very much. And that took care of that.
Two things that Pat Head Summit did historically. One was win more basketball games than anybody else. More wins than anybody. Number two, she is the one that led the charge after the 1979 season that Tennessee high school basketball would go to 5-on-5.
Right.
She came out to the legislature and said, if you do not change the rules to TSSAA, if you do not change the rules, I will not recruit any more players from the state of Tennessee.
That is what she said, yes.
And she was so respected at that point in time, even though she had not won any real championships yet. It wasn't the only reason it happened, because there were a lot of other people. And Jeff, I'm told that there was a lot of gnashing of teeth and coaches just angry that they changed that rule.
Oh, well, I went through it, and you're exactly right. There was a lot of hard feelings over that. A lot of it toward her as well. Even though they were obviously, if you cannot respect Pat Head, you can't respect much of anybody in the basketball world. She knew what she was doing. But
at the time, they didn't know that for sure. And at the time, she didn't know that for sure.
Probably right. There was a lawsuit filed.
Oh yeah.
It went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court found against 5-on-5.
They
didn't hear the case.
Oh, okay.
And they don't hear every case that comes before them by any stretch of the imagination. They don't hear it. They don't make a ruling on it. But after that, the next year, TSSAA changed it themselves. And so I'm I liked 3-on-3, 6-on-6. I enjoyed that game very, very much, but I've enjoyed the 5-on-5.
It kind of reminds us of the one-time transfer rule that's in place now. The TSSAA changed it before the state legislature came along and made it law.
Okay, that's possible. I don't know if that's going to happen or not.
But it was kind of one of those things that it's inevitable. But let's keep in mind that TSSAA is a little different than most bodies in the fact that those were 9 board of control people that made the decision. 9 principals of schools across the state of Tennessee, whatever. It was not. I'm trying to think. Gil Gideon, probably the TSSAA head at the time. Would that sound right?
Yeah, that's probably about right. Yeah.
So Gil Gideon didn't do that.
No, he did not.
The 9 people that make up the board of control or that were elected by the school's members that made that decision. And you think they didn't have a few phone calls? Those 9 people stayed busy for a few listening and bargaining and whatever.
I would imagine they had plenty of phone calls, but Tim, I don't really know necessarily what those phone calls would have been. Would they have been far changing or not changing?
Oh, I'm sure they heard both.
I guess so.
Oh yeah.
It was changed in 1980. The last 6-on-6 girls basketball game that was played in the state of Tennessee was Riverdale and Warren County, and that was it at the finals of the state tournament. And Buddy Pate was head coach, and Buddy had played 5-on-5 and had coached 5-on-5 boys basketball, and he did quite well after that of taking girls and playing 5-on-5. I don't think it was a problem for him. I don't think it was.
I got into my coaching career in 1978 when Tony Majors named me assistant head boys coach at Smyrna High School. And when the girls' game changed, I thought, I'm going to go coach girls because I know the 5-on-5 game, and a lot of these dudes out there that are going to keep coaching girls do not know the 5-on-5 game the way I do. So that's how I got into girls basketball, because I thought that to my advantage, go out and out-coach these folks, and I'm sure I did a lot of that.
Yeah, it's a great game either way, and I guess people now, I mean, gosh, it's been nearly 50 years since we've played any 6-on-6 girls basketball, and I think if it came back today, and that was the rule, I think people would really enjoy the 6-on-6 game. It had a lot of things that were right about it, and made it interesting, and more interesting maybe. And somebody pointed this out to me, and I think this is true. I think it's true. But you go to a high school game, and they're playing 6-on-6, and either team or both teams are outstanding or they're good or whatever. Okay, that's good. You've enjoyed that game. And then you go to boys basketball, and you're playing 5-on-5. Well, that's good too. We enjoy that. So either way, it's okay.
Jeff, we got to remember there's a lot of people out there listening, or at least potential listeners, that have no clue what we're talking about.
That's
when they say 6-on-6 basketball. They cannot conceive of what that game was like.
That is correct.
2 other rule changes that changed basketball. One, pretty obvious to me at least, was the 3-point rule that was put in the mid to late 80s. I can't remember exactly what year that was. The second one, Jeff, was I think it was 85 that they changed the size of the basketball that the girls play with, and
right.
A lot of folks listening don't know that the girls play with a different basketball than the guys do.
Yeah, they don't know that. That is true.
And the difference is the ball. The men's basketball is 29.5 inches in circumference. The girls is 28.5, 1 inch. And you think, how could that make much difference? Well, at the time, Gary Miller and I were at Laverne High School. If you picked up a boys basketball, you felt like you're picking up a medicine ball.
That's right. That's right.
That noticeably difference was huge. And the question is, well, why did they do that? Because the size of the girl's hand is smaller, and it just made it better for them to shoot a ball that fit their hand the same way the boys basketball should fit a boy's hand.
Well, of course, as we both know, I'm an old man, so conversations that I have with people, and if it ever comes around to 6-on-6, which it hardly ever does anymore, but if it does come around, they look at me like, I don't have any idea what I'm talking about, and it was a different game. One other change that I don't know the year that this was changed, but I know it was a blessing in junior pro basketball for sure. But it went all the way through, and that was jump balls.
Yes.
He just eliminated the jump ball altogether, except to start the game or start in overtime. Otherwise, you alternate possession, and that has speeded as the game is faster. There's no argument about it, whose it is, and it works better.
The idea, go back to Kim Webb. For those that just picture this, you got, when it says 6-on-6, that means you got 3 girls that play defense. They stay on the defensive end. They cannot go across midcourt.
Right.
You got 3 girls on your team on the offensive end. They cannot cross in the defensive side. So you got 3 girls, 3-on-3 game on each end of the floor, depending on who's got the ball. You take a player like Kim Webb that was so good on a 1-on-1. Jeff, in a 3-on-3 game, people like that were just unstoppable.
Yeah.
You had many 30-point or more scores because you find your horse, if there was such a thing as that, and you feed that horse and let the big dog eat, as they say. And the Kim Webbs of this world were just dominant.
She, an extremely good player, very efficient and very hardworking. Yes, she was okay. All state, of course. I mean, on the state championship team, she did very well. She was a good player. I'm
trying to remember which state, but it was well in the 2000s before, I think Nebraska, but don't hold me to that, changed the rules to 5-on-5 basketball for high schools. There's some states stayed with it a lot longer than Tennessee did.
I think it was Iowa, but that doesn't matter.
It was someplace there in the heartland of the United States, something like that. Well, my guess is Chip Walters in the report we're going to get next is going to speak a good deal about what we've talked about already. That's Matt Insell being the new head coach at Middle Tennessee.
Well, let's hear him.
So we'll get to that right after this on All Sports Talk.
Lace up your best kicks for a night of impact benefiting First Shot. Join us for the annual Sneaker Ball presented by Venture Express. Spend Sunday, April 26th with NFL Hall of Famer and Super Bowl MVP Marcus Allen. The event kicks off at 6 with a VIP meet and greet at 5. Reserve your table today. Call Coach Andy Herzer at 615-631-5312. We'll see you at the Sneaker Ball benefiting First Shot on April 26th.
You know, everyone has a more. First, it's a pony. Then to be on the cheer squad. Your more grows up just like you do. But your more can still carry you away or make you cheer. At First Bank, banking local gets you more. More of our time, more access to local bankers, more flexibility, and more product choices. Because getting more empowered and confident helps you pursue your more. That never grows old. First Bank. Bank local, get more. Member FDIC.
Hey folks, it's Chip Walters from Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates, helping Middle Tennessee make smart moves in a fast-moving market. Whether you're buying, selling, or just exploring your options, you deserve someone who knows this community and treats your goals like their own. From first-timers to long-time homeowners, I'm here to guide you with clarity, confidence, and a steady hand. When you're ready to make the next move, start with someone you trust. Visit ChooseChip.net and let's make your 2026 move the right move.
Next on All Sports Talk, it's the Blue Raider Insider Report with Chip Walters of Exit Realty, Bob Lamb & Associates.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Big news in Lady Raider basketball today. Following the announcement that Hall of Fame coach Rick Insell will retire at the end of the 25-26 season, Middle Tennessee women's basketball has named Matt Insell as the next leader of the program. He becomes the 8th head coach in program history. A native of Shelbyville, Insell enters his 8th season on the Blue Raiders staff and his 4th as associate head coach after returning to his alma mater in 2018. He previously served as head coach at Ole Miss for 5 seasons and as an assistant coach at Kentucky, where he was part of 4 NCAA tournament teams, including 3 Elite 8 teams. He talked about the specialness
of this job.
This isn't another job to me. It's not. This is home. This is where I've grown. This is where I've learned. There's been good days and there's been bad days. But this is not someone taking over this program that's looking for what's next. This is what's next. And I'm excited about that. There's a standard here, a winning standard. And we're not going to run from that. There's 21, as Dr. McPhee just said, and Chris, 21 NCAA tournament appearances, 23 conference championships. That's not everywhere else. We go into these other gyms, and you look at their rafters, and they maybe have one women's basketball rafter. In our gym, it's the whole side of the gym for all of the banners that's happening inside of this program. And that happens because of administration. Our administration cares about women's basketball, and I thank Dr. McPhee and Chris for that.
Of course, Coach Insel and the Lady Raiders have more to go, both Coach Rick Insel and Matt, and it hasn't been the easiest end of the year for sophomore Savannah Davis. Over her last game, the sharpshooter had fallen into a 7 for 33 slump from the field, but surrounded by 3 St. Bonaventure defenders, Davis rose up with just as much confidence as ever and nailed a 38-footer as the buzzer rang to end the third quarter and give Middle a 54-43 lead. Davis, with a big smile on her face, surrounded by her teammates, celebrated her big shot and the end of that slump in a 69-50 win in the opening round, or the actual second round, the opening game in the WNIT for the Lady Raiders. With the win, Middle will now be back at home on Thursday night to take on Cleveland State. The Raiders were winners last night in their game. The crowd last night announced it over 4,000 at Murphy Center, and that was a big part of why the Lady Raiders of Middle Tennessee got another home game. So again, they're looking for more Blue Raider fans to show up this Thursday night for the game against Cleveland State. I would imagine the ticket policy is going to be exactly the same. $10 tickets, general admission, $5 parking. So get ready for that, and you'll be able to get your tickets in a very short order. Middle Tennessee Women's Golf put together a strong opening day at the Bell Bank Pay It Forward Collegiate, finishing 5th to position itself firmly in the hunt after 36 holes at the Wigwam Resort in Litchfield, Arizona. Well, and some sad news to report today. Longtime MTSU Sports Information Director Ed Given died earlier today. He had been in hospice care. Ed also worked at Western Kentucky University and at the Nashville Banner during his award-winning career. He was the SID for Blue Raider coaches Boots Donnelly, along with John Stanford, and also during basketball days of Bruce Stewart as head coach. Well, that is it for today, folks. We'll have another update for you coming up tomorrow right here on the Big G, WGNS.
It's all sports talk from the Good Neighbor Network, FM 101.9, 100.5, AM 1450, wgnsradio.com, and Big G TV.
We are back. Tim Tackett and Jeff Jordan. Jeff brought to you by Fans Heating and Air, Lee Collins Financial Services with Edward Jones. Yes, there is other basketball taking place across the country. I don't know how much did you watch Thursday through Sunday. For most people, they almost make it a holiday. You got games everywhere now. My TV, at least most I think do this now. We watch multi games at one time. You got 4 squares up on the screen. Kind of easier to keep up with all that mess. But some good games, some blowouts, some last-second shots, and some last-second shots that go all the way down in the hole and kind of jump out like Vanderbilt did. I don't know that I've ever seen one go down any deeper than that one before it jumped out.
We talked a little bit about this previous to our Sunday school class, okay?
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, previous is very important. But I just told them, I said, I've seen, I don't know how many games, hundreds, I guess. And I've seen last-second shots, so have you. Hit, missed, go all over, whatever, you know. But this one was, first of all, it was for the win. That's important. And it was like, what, a 60-footer?
Yeah, he was. I mean, but it was a really well-controlled shot.
It was.
It wasn't a heave. It was a shot.
He squared up. He had 2.5 seconds, and he used about 2 of it. And the ball looked like it tipped the backboard, hit the rim, rolled around, went down in it, and came out. And he didn't know what to do except fall on the floor. And I just thought, well, it doesn't get any closer than that.
No, it does not.
You can't get any closer. So
we've heard for years it's a game of inches.
Yeah.
And it is, Jeff. That shot right there, we don't know what Vanderbilt would have done, but it's possible it cost them a national championship. That's a pretty good stretch, but it could have.
Well, they won't be around to prove that wrong. That's for sure. But I will. If you, I don't know how you felt about it. We haven't talked about it at all. But I watched it from beginning to end, and it looked like to me, with all due respect to everybody, Vanderbilt had already lost that game. I thought Nebraska outplayed them. They were more physical. I just thought they did, but boy, people could sure argue with me about that. And Vanderbilt, a lot of free throws. Oh,
yeah, last 3 or 4 minutes though, Jeff. It appeared that the little guy from Vanderbilt, I can't call his name right now. I should be able to, but just they were scared to death that he was going to score every time he touched the basketball.
I thought he was. I don't know how many he had. Was it 30? I don't know how many he got.
He had a bunch, but that one. But let's go back a little farther. When Kentucky sees a 3-point shot heaved in, thought to be the winning shot, but there was 2.5 seconds left on that clock, because the rule now means when the ball goes through in the last minute, shots made, the clock stops.
Right.
So we went in with 2.5 seconds to go. No timeouts left for Kentucky. They heave it inbounds. Guy comes across to about just over half court. But his was not a shot, Jeff. His was a heave. Is it fair to say?
Yeah.
And he chunked it, boink, backboard through, tied the game, and Kentucky goes on to win. So we saw 2 Hail Marys go in that game, and oh me, it's a question we can't answer. Is it easier to take a game when you get beat 20, or you get beat 20, or you get beat on a buzzer beater?
I don't know. You were talking about the boy from Vanderbilt. I can't even think of his name. It's like Tedder or Terry or something like that is his last name. But I was just thinking about him. He's a product of the NIL.
Yeah.
Okay. He's in a commercial with Blair Durham, the insurance guy.
Bart
Durham. And I just thought, well, there we got one local guy doing commercials, and I think we have others as well. But.
Well, 16 teams march on. Florida, the defending champion, takes one in the chops from a number 9 seed. Jeff, the question still being answered. Is this new portal rule taking the starch out of what can happen with the Cinderella teams? And the answer is you're not immune from an upset just because you buy more players than somebody else does. Kentucky, Jeff, I don't think anybody spent more money on players than Kentucky would. Would you think?
I would think that's true. I also think that the Kentucky boosters and et cetera, are getting very restless.
Oh, yes. Well, they've been restless for a lot of years.
That's true.
Things have not gone. They've been kind of there, but next year's going, and they start out good, and then it goes haywire, and off you go.
Well, if you've got to win your way through the SEC in the tournament and hopefully get a decent, seed in the it's rough.
Jeff, there's a real tug of war going on now about how many teams need to be in the tournament, and should the conferences like OVC, Southland Conference, even Conference USA, even the conference that Miami comes from, 34-0 team.
Yeah.
Got to be in the conference tournament and had to get in kind of as an at-large and played the play-in game, Jeff, at 34-1.
Right.
And there would be some that would say they didn't deserve to be in it.
Yes.
Auburn should have been there.
Yes.
Whatever. Here's my take on this. And SEC has 16 teams, right?
Right.
If you can't be in the top 8 of your league, how can you make an argument that you need to be in the tournament? You've had all season long to be in the top 8. Let's just say, give the Big Ten and SEC, your top 8 teams are going to get in. You can't play it out any way you want to, but you're going to get 8 teams in. But that's all you're going to get. Because if you don't finish in the top half of your league, you don't need to be in. Now, they're going to say, well, the 9th team, 10th team, and 11th team in SEC is a better team than a conference champion in the OVC or even Conference USA. Is that true? Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. But here's the way it's set up right now. They call them quad 1 wins. If you're Middle Tennessee, how many quad 1 games do you get to play? How many times do you get to play a team in the top 25 teams in the country? You're not going to win games you can't play. So there are those that think the big conferences should get. Do we want the best 64 or do we want 64 teams to play in a tournament? And in my mind, if you can't finish in the top half of your league, wherever you happen to be, you have no business being in the NCAA tournament.
No, you're talking about a league record?
I'm talking about any way they want to slice it. Tournament record, top 8 in tournament, or in the league, or make it 10. Top 10 out of 16. But don't tell me that the 12th team in the SEC or the Big Ten needs to be in the tournament ahead of Miami of Ohio that was 34-0 going into the tournament. Just don't hand me that stuff.
Well, if you say, I don't know really. Well, I don't know really where to go with that. If you are saying that you want to get the top 8 records, overall records in your league, those teams go. Okay, but remember also, if that's your rule, Vanderbilt is not going to come down here and play MTSU.
Well,
they're not going to do that because there's no advantage.
When's the last time they did that?
Well, but they're not ever going to do it.
They're not going to do it now.
Oh,
they're not doing it now, Jeff. When's the last time Middle Tennessee had a top SEC or Big Ten team?
I can't answer that, but there's not a penalty if they don't do it.
There is a penalty. There's one right now. That's why they're not doing it.
What's the penalty?
Louisville came down here 3 years ago and got beat. Women's basketball, are they coming back?
No.
No, and whether the rule changes or not, it's not going to matter. Middle Tennessee is not going to get. Miami of Ohio is not going to get Ohio State to come in and play at Miami of Ohio. They did 10 years ago. They're not going to get it next year. So all that stuff has got it all figured out. But you know what? Within a week's time, I'll figure it out and let you know next week. How's that sound? I think we're time to go.
We're getting pretty close.
I got catfish at home waiting on me, so I'm going to go eat some.
We got Braves baseball starting pretty soon, so I haven't looked at the schedule, so I don't know what Tuesday holds. But
by the way, you can for a mere $200, you can watch every baseball game in the world.
Well, for a mere $200, I'll put it in my pocket.
Well, my $200 is in their pocket. I'll be watching baseball all season long.
Okay.
Y'all have a good rest of the week.
Hi, this is Norman and Beth Brown.
I was at a restaurant one morning and the waitress says, "There's 3 little kittens strapped under an air conditioning unit." I was like, "Oh my goodness, we're in the business. Let me call my husband."
And I received the call. I immediately dispatched the tech and we rescued the kittens.
3 little kittens, so sweet. Meow.
Yep. Everyone goes beyond the call of duty at Roscoe Brown with heating and air, water purification, insulation, and more.
Roscoe Brown.
RoscoeBrown.com. When illness or injury turns everyday moments into uphill battles, there are medical professionals who step in with skill, compassion, and unwavering dedication. My name is Joey P. I'm CEO of Murfreesboro Medical Clinic, and we are proud to highlight this month's MMC Heart for Healing recipient.
We recognize Dr. Sean Horwitz, a surgeon at MMC, whose reputation is built on as much his heart as it is his hands. Dr. Horwitz makes every patient feel like his priority. Whether performing complex robotic surgery or providing life-changing breast care, he combines elite technical precision with a rare, compassionate touch that truly defines him. Dr. Sean Horwitz, our MMC Heart for Healing.
If a doctor, nurse, or medical professional has made a difference in your life, tell WGNS. Help us recognize the medical heroes in our community by nominating them for the MMC Heart for Healing Award, and help us recognize the medical heroes in our community.
The residents at Stones River Manor love the environment.
I just really like it. Of course, I'm in an apartment and I can come and go and do kind of what I want to.
Stones River Manor, serving the community since 1977.
My husband felt much better when he passed away that I was taken care of here. We got married in 58 and in 60 he went in Air Force.
Stones River Manor in Murfreesboro, near the intersection of Haynes Drive and Memorial Boulevard.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Isaac Lowenkron.
In the NFL, the Cincinnati Bengals are re-signing quarterback Joe Flacco to a one-year deal. Tampa Bay Buccaneers linebacker Levante David announced his retirement today after 14 seasons, all with the Bucs. The Atlanta Falcons are signing running back Brian Robinson Jr. The NBA Players Association issued a statement today regarding the Milwaukee Bucks' reported desire to shut Giannis Antetokounmpo down for the rest of the season, saying that Antetokounmpo is healthy and ready to play, adding, quote, anti-tanking policies are only as effective as their enforcement. The integrity of the game itself will continue to suffer as long as ownership goes unchecked, unquote. ESPN reports Golden State Warriors guard Moses Moody has been diagnosed with a season-ending torn patellar tendon in his left knee.
Jennings and Ayers Funeral Home has served Murfreesboro families with compassion and care since 1880. As a family-owned funeral home, we're committed to honoring every life with dignity through traditional services, cremation options, and pre-planning that gives you peace of mind. For over 140 years, we've been here when it matters most. Visit JenningsandAyers.com. Jennings and Ayers Funeral Home, honoring life and comforting families since 1880.
At Holden Hardware, we carry one of the area's best selection of sleds. We carry the round disc to the 48 and 66-inch plastic toboggans. We also have a few different ones in between. We may even have the old-fashioned wood and metal sleds. When you are wanting to buy a sled, don't drive all over town. Come by and see us at Holden Hardware on the square. If you see the sleds in the window, we have them waiting for you. But don't wait too long. Get your sled at Holden Hardware on the square.
Where is the best barbecue in town? At 1920 East Main. The best barbecue for miles around is in 1920 East Main. You can buy by the pound, sandwich, platter, or plate. No matter what you choose, it will taste great. You can come with a friend, by yourself, or with a date. Just lick the pig barbecue.